have no grade because I'm also missing. I was like one of the sections we talked about, but I'm missing that. Go on.
You better.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this in the internet.
All of you. When I realized how.
How was the final note? It was interesting.
Okay, let's see. I think we should be good to go here. Okay, I think we can get started now. Everyone is well, most people are here and it's past 6, so we should be good to go. If you haven't already, we got the QR code up there for attendance if you want to scan that. Please, we need money. That goes for all of you online, and by all of you online, I mean Daniel. So, give it a minute to you guys do that. Hello, online people. Okay, so I'll put it up again at the end here. That's the attendance, the QR code there. So I'll put that back up at the end. We can get started here. We got Bash scripting, or not really Bash scripting, but just kind of an intro to Bash. So how many people in here have used the Linux command line before? That's great. And even if you haven't, you've probably touched it at some point if you've taken 150 or 250, CC 150 or 250, because you have to use it on there for the server like dev host bin and DS Unix. That is the Linux command line. So, what is, come on. There we go. The clicker was broken. So Bash is the program that's actually like the command line. That's the one that runs that's the actual name of the program that's running at the time. There are different ones like Fish earlier, but by and large, Bash is the sort of standard-ish. If you open a random Linux computer somewhere and log in and find a command line, you're probably on Bash. Bash specifically is short for the Born Again shell. It's a command line interpreter. It allows you to interface with other programs on the operating system. So every command you run through Bash is another program that's like compiled code that actually exists somewhere. If you've done, you compiled C code for like, CC150 to ./a.out, that's the same thing as the commands you run normally, like ls, cat, nano, all that stuff. It's the same as that. The only difference is those commands are in something called your path, which means you don't have to provide a whole like / file system thing to get to run them. You just type ls, nano, cat, all that stuff. So in addition to just running commands, you can also combine multiple commands with each other to extend their behavior. Something like cat isn't particularly useful on its own. I mean, it just prints stuff out to the screen, But once you combine that with other programs that are designed to take input, process it, and then re-output it, then you can start to do some fun stuff. You can also store commands in a script to execute them later. So if you want to make if you have one big long command line that you want to run, and you don't want to have to type that out every time you want to do it, you can put that in a script, and then you can just run the script. And Bash is actually a full programming language. So you can write entire programs, applications, stuff like that in it. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. But basic usage is just writing out the command you want, followed by its arguments. Just ls, cat, or nano, main.c, that sort of thing. If an argument has a space or other special character in it, you have to escape the characters with a backslash or surround it in quotes. So because of the way Bash processes arguments, there's a space between each arguments. If you go to something like C, you got commas and whatnot. Bash doesn't do that. It has spaces. The problem is that we like to put spaces in a lot of things. You know, if you got two words in a file name, there's probably a space between them if you aren't already terrified of putting spaces in file names like I am because bash. So you gotta escape those characters. You can put a backslash before it. Just do backslash space and that'll escape it. Or you can put the whole thing in quotes. That'll also do that. Multiple commands on the same line can be separated with semicolons. So you can do ls semicolon nano main.c. Then it'll list all your files out and then immediately nano main.c. That one's not a particularly useful combination because nano is immediately going to erase the ls because it's going to open main.c. But there are more useful combinations. The hashtag or octothorpe or pound sign or sharp sign, however you want to call it, denotes a comment. So in C, you know, you got the / and you can write out whatever you want. Bash has the same thing, but it's with a hashtag. That's particularly useful because that also works on the regular command line when you're just typing stuff out. So if you have like a bit of a command near the end that you want to like lop off, but you don't want to delete it, you can just put a hashtag before it and Bash will treat the rest of the line as a comment, which is pretty cool. Makes editing things a lot easier. The only type of variable in Bash is string. Well, a little bit deep. You can go a little bit deeper. There's some more complicated stuff. But by and large, you're just going to be working with strings. Variables are all strings. If you ever want to do math, you pass strings to it, and it parses them into numbers, which is a little bit wonky, but once you first get used to it. So Bash, the other thing with Bash here is we got redirections and pipes. So programs, when you run them, they have a couple of streams like that they just have by default. You got standard in and standard out. Standard in, when you type something on the keyboard, it gets sent to the standard in of the program. You know, when you run like scanf, right, from C, that reads data from standard in. Similarly, printf will send the data to standard out, which is the default output stream. Bash allows you to redirect those streams and manipulate them. So rather than having scanf read, when scanf reads from standard in, rather than standard in coming from like your keyboard when you're typing, you can have standard in come from another program like ls or a file, like in this example, myfile.txt. You can do that with like greater than, less than signs here. So the greater than sign lets you redirect into a file. Those top two lines there, 1 and 2, let you write into a file. The first one there overwrites the contents of the file. So whatever's in there gets deleted and replaced with the output of the bash command, or whatever it puts to standard out. The one on the second line also does that, except it doesn't erase it. So if you have something in there, it'll just kind of tack it on the end. So if you have, say, a log file where you want to get a record of all the times you ran a command, that would be the thing you'd use. On the other side, we have redirecting to standard in. If you use a less than sign there with a file, it'll make the command read standard in from a file. So the grep command, if you've never used that before, allows you to kind of filter standard in or a file if you give it file arguments. But in this case, it's filtering standard in, and it's filtering for over. So any lines that contain over like that will get printed out to the screen, and the rest of them will just get discarded. Grep is one of the especially useful commands for piping things into each other, because you can filter things and manipulate it and all sorts of fun stuff. In this case, it's just reading from myfile.txt and filtering for any lines that contain over. The fourth line there is a bit more complicated. There's a 2 right behind the less than sign or greater than sign. That's going to redirect a different stream called standard error, which normally when you have error messages, like if you try and open a file that doesn't exist or something like that, that'll print a message to standard error. So any like error messages generally get sent there. So in this case, cat.not.real.txt with 2 greater than errors.log is going to redirect just standard error into errors.log. So if the file actually exists, it's just going to print it out and be normal, right? But if the file doesn't exist, like in this case of notreal.txt, then it's going to send that error message that says cat, can't open file, no path, whatever. It's going to put that in the errors.log file instead of printing it out to the console. So you can do a similar like logging thing with errors with logging and stuff with that sort of redirection there. So a little bit more for standard in. we have here docs and here strings. In this case, the one way up here on the top from line 1 to 5 is the here doc, which allows you to put a command or put a bunch of lines and send those to standard in. So that way, when you rather than typing them all in manually, and then if your program doesn't terminate, then you're kind of just stuck unless you send it manually, send it in EOF or end of file, close standard in. A here doc will just do that automatically, and it'll also put it in your shell history, which is handy if you want to do tests for a bunch of stuff. If you've got an assignment for a class where you're sending a bunch of the same input to a program over and over again to test it and make sure it's working right, a here doc would be pretty good for that. Similarly, a here string, which is what's on line 6 there, is similar to a here doc, but it's only one line. So you can see in this one, this string here, flash, gets sent to send, which is a command for editing streams. And this goofy little bit here is just going to replace the FL with a B. And so it's going to get flash, it's going to replace the FL with a B, and we're going to get bash as our output. I'm realizing I have a bit of a typo here. That pipe there on the third bullet point should actually be a pipe. The symbol you get when you do shift / right above the enter key. That allows you to send the standard out from one program to the standard in of another program. And this is where bash really starts to get fun, because we can get like 7 of these different commands and programs, and we can push output from one into the input from the other again and again and again and again. And you can end up with a completely different output than what you put in. It's really cool. In this case, though, we're catting my files, so just printing the contents of that to the standard out. That standard out is getting sent to grep standard in, which is going to filter it for any lines that contain my name. Did my thing die? I think my stylus died. Disappointed. Oh, maybe it's not dead. It is not dead. Oh, well. But expansion substitutions. So in addition to pipes, where you can just put standard out to standard in, you can also have expansions and substitutions, where you can substitute the standard out of a command into the command line of another. So you can kind of like generate a command and then run that command using another command. So that's that first line there. In this case, the find command in those 2 green brackets with the parentheses with the $sign, that's just going to find every file that ends with .sh, so all the shell scripts in the current directory. It's going to print those to its standard out, but because it's doing a substitution there, that standard out is going to be put in this command line. So really what we're going to end up with is this mv tect example scripts, and then the name of every file or shell script in the current directory. So what that line is going to have the effect of doing is any file in the current directory that ends in .sh is going to get moved to the example scripts folder. The next line there with variables, you can assign a variable with the equal sign. So my var equals that. It's the same line from before, but that'll result in my var getting set to all the lines in my file that contain my name. Similarly, you can get the value out of a variable with just $sign and then the name of the variable. The important thing to note with these is variables in bash are actually, they're expanding, and it's kind of like replacing where it is in the command line. So if you have like a space in one of these, then you're going to have a lot of problems, because it's going to be 2 separate arguments on the line. Most of the time that's not an issue though. If it is, then you'll just have to start putting quotes around stuff and hope it works. Other important bit here before we get to the really fun stuff is exit codes and Boolean operations. So the exit code is a number in the range of 0 to 255 that denotes the status of a program after it exits. So if you have something like cat and you try and read a file that isn't there, it's going to throw a little error, but it's also going to have an exit code which you don't immediately see that's non-zero. So 0 is success, and then anything that isn't 0 denotes an error of some kind. A lot of programs will use different values of the exit code that aren't 0 to denote different kinds of errors. So you can do some really simple logic without ever having to parse the error message itself. In C, you know how you have to return 0 from the end of your main function? That's the exit code. So if you return like 1 or a different number, your exit code is going to be whatever you return from main. Bash has 2 operators that work with these exit codes and a special variable. The special variable is the $? variable, which is going to contain the exit code of the last command. So if you have like a command that exits with an error, and then you do echo $? You're going to see the error code, 0, 1, whatever it is. The operators are ampersand, ampersand, and pipe, pipe. Where ampersand, ampersand is, those are similar to kind of their C counterparts, where ampersand, ampersand is the logical and pipe, pipe is the logical or. With this, if you have a command on the left side that exits with a non-zero code, then that's going to be treated as like a false value. And then if you're using the logical and operator there on the top, it's never going to exit the bit on the rest of the command line. So if your code, so you can have like conditional logic that's like really simple without using stuff like if statements. So if you say want to create a file with a command like touch, which is a command that creates a file, and then you want to do something to that file after it's been created, but only if it was successfully created, you'd use the logical and operator. On the opposite end, we have the logical or operator, which will execute the right side only if the left side fails. So in this case, the false command will always fail, just like how the true command always succeeds. False always exits with 1, true always exits with 0. They literally just have their main is literally just return 1, return 0. So this will exit, if the command on the left exits with a non-zero exit code, the command on the right will be right. So in this case, false is going to exit with failure, so echo failure is going to run, and it's going to echo failure. The one on the bottom here starts to get a bit complicated because you can actually combine both logical and an or. This is a line I'll probably show here in a little bit once we start talking about shell prompts. This uses the git command. So git is a version control system. If you've ever used GitHub, that stuff's all done with git. There's a thing in git called branches, so you can have kind of different versions of the same repository. What this command at the bottom does is it uses that git branch command. It redirects all the output. That ampersand greater than sign is a kind of shorthand for redirecting both standard out and standard error. And it's going to redirect it into this special dev null file, which basically it is a file that exists. You can try and open it, but it's a special file that anything you send into it just gets deleted. If you try and write anything to it, you can't read it back out. So that has the effect of anything git branch printed out, like in this case, the list of branches is what it's going to try and print. That's all going to get redirected to dev null, so we're never going to see that. Which makes you wonder, why are we even running it in the first place? Is git branch, running the git command there, has a side effect of if we're in a git repository, then it's going to exit with a 0 exit code. But if we're not in a git repository, then it can't list the branches, right? Because there's no branches to list. We're not in a repo. It's going to exit with an error because it can't find the repository. So then we can hijack that kind of property of it, along with these logical operators, to check if we're in a git repository. So we know if we use logical and here, if it exits successfully, we know that we're in a git repo. If we use logical or, then and that line runs, we know we're not in a git repo. So prompts. This is the really fun part, and the part that we're going to have a bit of a contest here in a couple of minutes once I finish the slides here. Is the prompt is the bit that displays when you to the left right before you type a command in. The $, user at host whatever $. That's the prompt. You can actually customize this by setting the value of the PS1 variable on your command line. The prompt, the PS1 variable will contain a string that gets expanded every time the prompt is printed. So every time you go to print the prompt, that string is going to kind of get parsed and printed out. In addition to the normal stuff, so like, $ parentheses, variable names, all that stuff, there are several special escape sequences that you can do that will like get replaced with certain values that are probably of interest to you in a shell prompt. So $$ will turn into a hashtag or whatever you want to call it if you're the root user. Otherwise, it turns into a $. So if you've ever run a shell on a Linux box and use sudo to like open up a root shell, and you notice that the root shell, instead of having a $, it has a hashtag, that's how that works, is it uses that $$ thing. Similarly, we have the current directory, so $W turns into the current directory. So on your shell, it usually tells you what folder you're in. That uses that $W thing under the hood. There's also uppercase W, which only shows the last directory you're in. So if you're in like, home, user, documents, uppercase W will only turn into documents rather than /home/user/documents. So you can save a little bit of space, a little bit of logic, that sort of thing. The \h turns into host name. And then those two at the bottom there, / square brackets, those are used to escape non-printing characters. So a lot of shell prompts will have special colors, right? They look fancy, make it a little bit easier to read the information out of it at a glance. Those use a thing called ANSI escape sequences. You can see there's a couple of them at the bottom here in line 2. That's that weird \033 left square bracket 92M. That's an ANSI escape sequence to turn the color of the text green, if I remember correctly. So the problem is Bash needs to know how long the prompt is in order to do some stuff like wrapping the line around. If you type a long enough command, you'll eventually start typing onto the next line. Bash needs to know how long the prompt is so it can actually calculate when it needs to start wrapping and what it needs to do with that. The problem is when you have non-printing stuff, like those ANSI escape sequences, those don't actually output anything. They just tell the terminal to change the color. Bash thinks those are getting printed out, and it includes those in, it's sort of screen width minus prompt width calculation. The / square brackets allow it to, or explicitly tell Bash that no, these characters do not print out. You should ignore them when you're doing your math. Otherwise, you're going to get very messed up very quickly. There's a whole bunch more of these. This is very much a non-exhaustive list. There's like 5 or 6 times more than I have listed here. You can find all those at this URL on screen. I'll put these slides in the Discord once I'm done presenting with them here, so you guys can go read that list for yourself. But there's a couple of the basic examples for prompts here at the bottom. We've got on line 1, there's a really simple one. That one won't have any color. It'll basically just print out your username at the host you're on, so what computer you're on, and then your current working directory inside of square brackets, and then it'll put a little $sign or hashtag at the end of it. The next, the prompt on line 2 is the exact same as the first one, except it has colors. It will make the username at the host name green, the current directory yellow, and that's it. That's the only colors it's in. Everything else will be white. So this is actually the last slide I've got. Now we can start getting into the fun stuff. All of you guys, or at least whoever wants to participate, are going to try and make a shell prompt. And then at the end, right before, probably around 6:50-ish, we're going to stop. And then whoever wants to share a shell prompt can share it. And then we're all kind of going to decide on who has the best one. And whoever has the best one, I'm going to buy you something from the vending machine downstairs. So there's a little bit of incentive for you. But that's all I've got for presenting. So if you guys want to start getting cracking on prompts or making your own shell prompts, then we can see what you guys can come up with here in 25 minutes or so. Yes.
Question. So I'm not the most biggest knowledgeable about the stuff, but I know certain Linux commands like the arguments have like the hyphen or minus sign. Are those treated differently? Or is that just convention? 'Cause
That's-
sometimes I type those like, oh no, I get some weird error if I do when I should do when I not do it when I should. So are those, because I know there's some you can move them together sometimes. You can split them apart.
Yep.
Like,
That's
is it differently, or is that
yeah, that's a really good question. That is purely convention. If you you guys probably haven't done it in CSC 150 or 250, but in C you can pass arguments to the main function. It can, instead of just doing, you know, int main then just two empty parentheses, you can do int main int argc and then char pointer argv. So the way every program actually sees the arguments, including the flags you pass on the command line, is just a list of all the space separated things. So if you have like with GCC, you know, you do tac o to tell it what file to output to. The way that works is GCC actually sees tac o, and then the next one is main, or is, you know, the name of the file you're trying to output to, and it has to do its own parsing of that to go, okay, this one is equal to tac o, which means the next one in the list is going to be the file I'm trying to output to. So it has to kind of figure that out.
a logic tree or something inside? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you just
around.
yeah. There's a lot of libraries out there for parsing, specifically for parsing arguments. On most Linux systems, there's stuff like getopt, and then argp. Python has argparse built into the standard library. Most programming languages have some sort of thing like that. But yeah, it's literally just a list of space separated strings for that. So, yep. Yeah, and if any of you guys have any questions when you're trying to make prompts here, feel free to raise your hand and ask. I'll be happy to come around and say stuff. Who is in the chat? Who said join CTF club in the chat? I take offense to that. That hurts my feelings. Let's see. I'm going to put the slides in the Computer Club Linux thing here so you guys can look back at them while you try making your prompts. Let's see. Upload a file. I can actually show you some of my stuff because I learned a bit while making this presentation too about shell prompts. So let's see, display. Open the display settings here and see if I can get a couple of these to mirror. Let's see. Can I make this one mirror the other one? I don't think I can. I think if I hit mirror, it's just going to make all of them the same. Yeah. So I guess you guys get to see the kind of ugly back end of live streaming here. Yeah. We can open a thing. Yeah, this is my shell prompt here. It looks pretty basic. If I cd into a directory though, we can see I actually get this little blue thing here. This is the current Git branch I'm in. Similarly, if I cd into another folder over here, this one also has a Git thing. If I open a Python virtual environment, it'll actually tell me, it'll actually put the little virtual environment in the prompt there, which is kind of neat. This one looks like, if I take a look at my bash RC here, that's another thing. You can just set PS1 like on the bash command line just by doing PS1 equals, you know, your whatever you want to set it to, just like that. But if you put it in home/.bashrc, then it'll get run every time you open a shell. So if I take a look at my bash RC here and scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can see, and make this bigger. My pen disconnected. This is the, I've actually got a couple iterations here. So here's the PS1 that's not colored. Here's the basic one that is colored. Here's a fancier one that has Git integration. So that's this bit over here. You put in, the way you do the running commands in it is by setting up the, you put this, the kind of shell substitution thing in there. except you escape it. So it doesn't escape, or it doesn't run it as soon as the bash RC runs, or as soon as the command runs. You make sure that string actually gets into there. So it's a little bit weird, but yeah, just a thing to keep in mind when you're doing it. And then this really long one at the bottom here, which doesn't even fit on the screen, is the one that includes the bit with the Python virtual environment. That's
Yes.
that's this bit over here.
There we go.
So you can see it's got via virtual env pymp.cfg, and it gets the name out of there from the prompt. So, yep. That's what I've got here. So if you guys want to give it a try, is anybody trying or is... Okay. Okay. Thank you. That makes me feel better. I guess everyone was being quiet. I guess you guys were all just focusing. Okay. I will work on mine on the screen here as you guys work on yours. Hmm? What is that? Oh, it's just putting random colors and random emojis. Yeah.
Bonus points, you can make one extra.
I mean, that's not too hard. Just exit one.
No, I don't mean crash. I mean, you don't mean accident. I mean unintended behavior.
Unintended behavior. Thank you for coming. If it crashes bash, yeah, send it to me. Oh, I gotta close my thing here. You. Let's see. I did have, yes, I had this open.
Oh well.
Hey, I didn't play for like 2 weeks. Now I'm back to, see, now it's even not this or binging and show, it's either and binging it. Only. Yeah. Is there like no yesterday? I don't know. 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. to like almost 11. Now we're gonna sing in after
Here's the page on ANSI escape codes as well, if you guys are interested in those. There's all of these fun colors here. And then if you want to get really fancy, there's even more colors. And then you can just start putting in RGB color codes too at a certain point.
Keep getting that. It's like typing the backslash. And I don't think I understand how it's supposed to make it interactive.
Yeah, so with these, there is let me open this up over here. This PS1 starts to get kind of weird with escaping because you have to make sure that those like $ parentheses substitutions actually end up in the string and they don't get executed when you have or when the PS1 variable gets set. So if you look at this one here, you can kind of see like there's a thing in there. It doesn't, but it's not like highlighted. So this substitution doesn't actually get substituted right away. PS1 actually gets set to a value, the value of a string that contains this $ parentheses construct in it. Because then when the shell prompt actually gets like evaluated and printed out, then is when that gets evaluated and substituted. You can kind of see in some of these other things in here, my prompt or my bash RC and VS Code actually kind of does syntax highlighting here. you can see that like this one gets this up here gets syntax highlighted, whereas this one down here does not, because this one doesn't actually get expanded right away. But yeah, backslashes. If you're doing double quotes, you'll have to do 2 backslashes in order to make sure one ends up in the final string. If you're doing single quotes, you'll have to do just one backslash, because double quotes allow for escaping with backslashes still. That's yeah, that's one of the weird things I kind of neglected to explain. That got cut out of the presentation, unfortunately. Single quotes and double quotes have different behavior. So double quotes allow you to put a backslash behind things to escape them, because double quotes also allow you to expand variables in them. You can kind of see down here with like the path, is this one is syntax highlighted. It's in double quotes, which means when this line gets executed, this will actually be expanded. Whereas the one up here, it's in single quotes, so this line does not get expanded. Did that help, or I can come up there and see.
Okay, what would be like the instance? I just don't know how to.
Yeah, so
Just to test it.
Thank you very much.
Best.
But I already, and I also don't like
Yeah,
spinning,
just
but this is not a part of the version I have.
Yeah.
And I have to. Because even though I hate it, I now have to.
try doubling that. Oh, wait a minute. You're in
Yeah, go for it.
yes.
I know. I helped.
You still need one more. Whenever they do. You could line of talking.
Yeah, it's and basically,
once you start adding more things onto it,
oh, she called down this person. Can you help us fix IW? Those would say,
If you at least let me know how, but I think that figure that out. Actually.
like I have plugins, I have smaller with I don't even just we need one like you think like apparently had never I know I know. I know, it's just too long. I had to look for it. Yeah, I get that, but I don't think. I don't know. To my knowledge, you should put the command in your prompt. So you're probably second was not one.
coding extracting your prompt, you should just put the command, you should just cast prompt.
That's important. Like, I know how to like use the call. No, the best.
This is gonna get it. It's literally using strength.
I understand. Single quotes are right. Fuck.
We're gonna see
She got two.
He selectively chose to ignore it. She did Sci-Fi in high school. She did CCDC for her first 2 years. She used to be. She now hates it. Thank you.
I just look like a green.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, destiny is on your side. Let's see, has anyone put anything in the chat here? No one has put anything in the chat. Anyone on Discord? Where's Discord? Well, that's a fancy looking one.
Yeah, so it was interesting meeting. I think we got I was there for like 2 hours. Don't think anything. And like, I think basically they got logged.
Let's see, what do we got?
This is the other problem I've been running into is they were really insistent on building like they went to they were really insistent on like this was a different issue. And I figured out one of them out. The other one I don't know. But like but I was like, I basically told him, well, only one of you needs to access AWS. All you need to use AWS is making snapshots and trying to so I mean,
I just want to make sure. I've done a bit of Bash, but so
yeah.
in Bash,
And I kept
instead of commenting with spaces, because I always do the spaces.
Yeah, I think it's
It's always gonna be so equal. You always keep it pushed together.
Yeah, you gotta
It's
keep
putting
it.
in space and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Bash is kind of weird like that. It's got a lot of weird little inconsistencies like that. I'm not 100% sure why you have the spacing, because like logically you really shouldn't have to worry about that, but it is, I guess.
Expand stuff. Yep. It's good to know because I type it so okay.
Mhm.
Just want to make sure.
Yep. Thanks.
Inside of the given doesn't have any snapshot AWS.
I knew.
I legitimately like this is
Yes.
Yes, you can.
PS1.
Well, you can run any bash you want from it. So yes, it's the shell prompt is technically Turing complete.
every other yes, no, it's like do you know even with
Should we run a fork bomb in the shell prompt? Should I do let's see here. Should I set PS1 equal to let's see, how do I do this?
I mean, to be fair, like I'm shocked that she has in the next month.
Should I do this?
CBGC this weekend, which is also
Yeah. There, called it. Should I do this?
You can do it on my machine if you don't want to like.
You do this? Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
Go with the bang.
Yeah, do that. Run a fork bomb on your machine. I don't think I need the semicolon. I think I just need the colon. That would be a fork bomb, Josh.
I've seen it.
Not gonna be
I've seen your I think it was just interpreting it.
Yeah, you'll have to put. I forgot to put the expansion around it, so you'll have to do something like that.
Yeah.
He's trying to put
Yeah, so put it in.
found this. I already had the answer.
And then make sure you.
She saw it, and I did. And I saw the rest of the task. So if I would have put in the answer to that, which she did, I don't know. It's like the score breakdown looks like it's kind of funny. This is the score breakdown.
Yeah.
You know, I was like I just collectively we had more points. Like S3 had more points than about more than half of the teams. But yeah, no, it's something interesting.
Like if you look at like
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I good work.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, let's go.
I knew I was seeing it up.
If you want to run pen, you want to do quotes /n.
Not quite because like Echo doesn't parse the backslash n as well. You can do Echo Tech E, which will parse those escape sequences, or you can use the printf command as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've got in mind here. If I go down here, this one right here is I have a test. I check if my the width of my terminal is less than like 50 things long. And if it's 50 characters, narrower than 50 characters, and if it is, it'll put a new line between the dollar sign and then the rest of the prompt. So if I open a terminal here and I make this smaller, if I do it like this, it'll look like that. But if I make this super thin, like this, and if I ls from here, it's not. It's gonna. Yeah. Now you can see that this is actually on the next line down. So it's like it's a little bit cleaner, you know. Yeah. This was
Smart thinking. Otherwise, just kind of guessing.
Yeah. This is.
I guess I just go as I go. So
Yeah. This is the thing I started working on. I started working on this afternoon. Yeah, Shelper. It's a bit of a pun, but it just generates the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
So it's got some of these things and functions. It's not perfect right now. I still got to fix it, but
Wow.
yeah. There's this. Here's the. I suppose I could. Let's see, what else we got here? Anyone else in the chat? No, nobody's viewing on YouTube either. Okay, well, it's about 6:48, so you guys got about 2 more minutes here to finish up your prompts. Then we can start comparing them.
Galen and Colin, I think they're doing right now. I take 6 classes next semester and join the subject. We're fine in the subject. So, and I'm not doing maths. I don't even know how to if you're talking to like talking to Stanford Science Community and talking to
I don't know where it last.
yeah, I can probably do the Stanford based community, but you never had always. You get a person like their name fleet.
How do I reply to PS1? Just put back to edit file and put it in the thing. I know.
Putting it in there, you're just gonna have to. I think it actually parses /n. That's what actual escape sequence is. Yeah. Yep. You guys have 45 seconds left.
I mean, this one I knew you didn't. But, yeah, I mean, like, we can qualify for CSUN. We collect CTF if we spend 6 hours. Man, it's like
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so if you had a shell prompt that you wanted to share with everyone, feel free to put it in the Discord now. You can put a screenshot as well as any source code you got with it. So like the actual prompt itself or what you're putting into PS1. And then we can start voting on them here. Yeah, to zoom in a little bit. Exactly what time you most recently lost the game.
Which channel?
This is Linux and Computer Club.
You don't actually.
It's off to the side. It might not be. No, you might have to go.
I know.
Yeah.
Changes?
It's always a. It's like
Open it.
you gotta like activate it.
Okay. No.
You can read through it. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, put him on Linux.
Right there, I'm people wait, no, stop, no, she had it, not.
Mine thumbs up. Let's see, I'll get mine in here.
What's yours? Do you type We'll see.
I just cat it out.
Just take a photo.
Me and Charles.
No, whenever I log out, he's like,
What do you say? Stay away from me.
But.
I should
Stop.
Okay, so did everybody who made one get theirs in? I think.
that's nice.
Okay. Well, that's okay. So I think we got a bunch of contenders here. Oh, that's really fancy for a shell prompt. That's a whole window manager right there.
What?
That's yeah, that is the Tmux and a bunch of other terminal stuff, I'm assuming. Not 100% sure.
It's ZSH, Westerm, and
Disqualified. Disqualified. A for effort. Looks really cool. One of these days I want to get like a proper terminal thing set up where I can do a bunch of fun stuff from the terminal, but haven't quite gotten around to it yet. Thank you, John, for Shrek. Thank you for gracing us with Shrek. Let's see if we go. Yep. Yeah, if we go back all the way up to the top here, we got this one looks really nice from Benjamin. We got the emojis in there too. Those are always fun. I always kind of the emojis. I feel like they add a little bit of extra iconness that you don't usually get from a terminal. But definitely pretty cool. I like the is the prompt just long enough that it wraps around naturally, or is there actually a new line in there? Okay, very cool. Let's see. We have the game from Miles, which you all just lost, by the way, so this timestamp is out of date again. Let's see, we got another one from Benjamin here with dancers, I guess. Is that what those are supposed to be? Or is this something I can't talk about? Okay, okay. I never tell. They're dancing.
What?
They're dancing or something, or running or doing something. ASCII art. Very cool. Let's see, we have John who has Shrek informing us that it is all ogre now, which is from something I definitely can't talk about up here. Then we have Yuri, who has turned his shell prompt into a fork bomb. Huh? Yeah, let me do that real quick.
Live demonstration.
Live demonstration. How about we wait until we're all done and then we can do the live demo. Yeah, we got retry is resource temporarily unavailable. Thank you, Yuri. We have mine, which is significantly less interesting than anyone else's. Mine's pretty basic. It just has the error code, username, and then directory and some Git branch and VM stuff. Then we're back down here where we've got the whole thing again. The little bit more than a prompt here. Yeah. And John. Yeah, Discord doesn't like that, unfortunately. It won't color your text for you. But we can see him up here in his glorious greenish yellow red colors here. It is all ogre now. Yeah, so what do you guys think is the best for all of these, out of all of these? Do you wanna like put it to a vote with like a show of hands here, or do we want to just collectively agree on something?
We still haven't seen the entirety of one yet.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna start closing windows here, so we can actually do this. Yeah, there's nobody on YouTube or Discord right now, but in case somebody is watching the stream a bit later, thank you for watching this far in the stream, and we'll let this happen naturally here, so you can see the very end. Let's see, we're gonna close this. I'm gonna leave the Discord. No longer in 60 FPS video. Watch the frame drop. I don't even know what videos I have on here. I don't know if I have anything on here. Let's see.
There's probably some test videos.
I'm pretty sure I have a copy of Bad Apple on here from some project earlier. Let's see, videos, what do I have in here? I have steamed hams and I do have Bad Apple. So,
Can you make your prompt Bad Apple?
could I make the prompt Bad Apple? Yes, I could make the prompt Bad Apple. In the time left, do you guys want Bad Apple or do you want a fork bomb? Then fork bomb? Okay, we'll open Bad Apple up with the video thing. We'll play it in VLC here. We'll open her up. Let's see, that's OBS stuff. Bad Apple. I hope this doesn't get me copyright striked. We'll set that to always on top. What else have I got here? Oh yeah, the attendance QR code. If you didn't scan this earlier, get it before the fork bomb hits. Get it? Oh, that went full screen. Yeah, she's gonna go hit a mansion now. Let's see. I think that's all of it.
Transitions.
OBS needs to stay open. Yeah, that's everything here. Should we time it? Is there a good moment in Bad Apple to run the fork bomb at?
I think all of it's fine.
All of it's good. We don't want to like hit it with one of the transitions here, like the cup. The halfway. Oh, the music's already going.
Or you know, like Trumpet Girl.
The trumpet girl. Oh yeah, we could do the Prism Rivers, whatever their name is. Yeah, that's them. It would be really funny. I think Bad Apple is probably good. I think this counts as transformative work.
Yeah.
I had to get back to Discord. Yeah, you're probably good with anything Toho derivative. It's educational, yeah.
It would be cool for the first one to copyright strike Peter Plot.
The channel's like less than a month old. We're already getting copyright striked.
Somebody just like send something to like make some art and we can send a cease and desist and go.
There we go. Okay, is everybody ready? Scan the QR code. There we go. I think it's going. Yep, 96%. We're going. We gonna die? Oh, it did kind of sync up. We almost got it.
And it's still going up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
We going?
I'd like the fork bomb as the winner.
The fork bomb is the winner. Sure, we can put the fork bomb as the winner if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Yuri. I'll buy you something from the vending machine.
It's still going.
It is still going. You think we'll get through all, what is it, 6,000 frames? Something a little over 6,000? Okay. Well, we got a little over a minute left, so hopefully we get the same thing here. Should I turn the audio on?
Yeah. You try.
Then maybe we will actually get to see it all fade to black. This is kind of awkward. What? What? It's not working. Yeah, your fork bomb is broken. Yuri, if this doesn't work, you're not getting that vending machine item. I'm gonna give it to someone else. I'm just too good. What can I say? I'm immune to the fork bomb. We're going great. Well, I'm sitting at a cool 90% RAM usage. 97% CPU.
CPU's kind of. It's not really going much higher.
Let's see. What are these weird error message? Bash fork. Oh, it's just not saying retry. Oh, something's not responding. Oh, I can't move Windows. Oh, nope, never mind. We're good. Let's see. Firefox is still going.
Eventually you'll crack your RAM because your RAM is going up, but your CPU's.
Oh, it's going up a little bit. I think I'm gonna hit swap first. Oh, yep. Now we're almost dead. We're going. Couldn't quite sync it up to the thing. Unless we want to go back and play it again. Oh, wait, there we go. I think we're dead. Finally died. Thank you. Oh no! Oh no! The garbage collector OOM killer has my back, I guess.
Now we get away again.
Again. I think it's gonna take a minute because it went back down to 74. Yeah, it's killing other processes that have memory before it's killing the like other stuff. So it's still
So things are gonna die one thing at a time.
yeah, it's gonna take a minute. Let's see. What if I do task manager here? Can I open that?
A second.
I could open a second terminal. There is a second terminal. Mr. President, a second fork bomb. Let's see. Can we separate this one out? Let's see. Can we pop this out? I can't pop it out.
Just keep pressing Control T.
Control T? Okay. Oh, Control Shift T, yep. There's that enough fork bombs? I think at this point, I think I'm just running out of CPU.
7. Oh, 98.
98. Why won't you die? Oh, I should have just hit kill for that. Do what? But then I'd have to go talk to ITS and get it replaced. Yeah, we got a witness here. Yeah. Yeah, you put in a good word for me, right? Yeah, it was an accident, you know.
Wall attack.
Yeah, the wall. Exactly. Force majeure. Oh, my mouse is frozen again. I'm still not at full swap though, so I think I think it'll just unfreeze here in a sec. Maybe. Maybe we're finally dead. Scan the QR code while you got the chance. Oh, we are still. We're still there. Oh, the terminal was about to die. I don't know. I'm just that good, I guess. Oh.
Mr. White's so good that not even the strongest fork bomb will take it down.
Yeah, it keeps stuff keeps getting OM killed. Oh, it's what has it done? Oh, it's dropped back to like my other prompt. What?
Okay, well, taste
That's interesting. Should I just run a normal fork bomb? Should I just run the normal fork bomb?
Yeah, just run the
We'll just run the normal fork bomb here. The classics, you know. Come on.
all of that is
Your fork bomb is broken.
So, question: what do you do if you want to recover from said?
Restart your computer. Yeah, no, this isn't gonna like hurt anything permanently. It'll just I'll just have to restart. I'm frozen again. I'm frozen. Yeah, sudo rm/rf/star. We're still frozen. Oh, virtual terminal stop. Device memory full. Oh, I'm almost full of swap.
I think that's a win.
I think that's about a win here. But it did kill. Oh, it didn't kill. Well, I don't think we're gonna see this die, unfortunately. I think it might just be too good. So, yeah. If I close this, it'll all die anyways. Watch, my RAM and CPU is just gonna flop back down here.
Take care.
Yes, kill it. Yes. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. And copy strike the DXU computer club.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, what was who made Bad Apple? Alstremeria Records is gonna copyright strike us.
One
Yeah.
had like a picture of a house for a tenth of a second. Maybe they got the strike for that or something. It's like
Yeah, some of them get pretty bad, but
if you just look at one picture of that one house, pretty much.
yeah. I'm still frozen. It's still there. It appears to have detached itself from the virtual terminal. Let's see. Well, I was gonna stop the live stream, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. Oh, there we go. And there we go.